everyone, Brother Roop here. We're talking about Apostle Paul when he was Saul near Jerusalem met Jesus Christ, a great light, lighter than the midday sun, as Paul described it, shone about him, and Jesus Christ spoke to him. And it was an amazing event to point out Saul's sin that he was involved in. He thought he was doing works of righteousness, but he was actually in sin. So Jesus Christ straightened him out. Now, Paul repented and became a Christian after that, but he still dealt with sin like all human beings do. You know, we're all not perfect. We all sin. We sin, but we repent of that sin right away, so we live repentant lives. But Paul continued to live with our battle, his body, his carnal nature. One example that Paul himself gives is his battle with pride. We read in 1 Corinthians, the very beginning of the book, Paul writes that he was an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ by his will. A very prideful, boastful way to start off a letter. I'm sure he had reasons for that, but by the end of the letter, it appears that he kind of convinced himself of to be a little more humble. But by the end of the letter, in the 15th chapter, verse 9, he said he is the least of the saints. That's how he describes himself, the least of the saints, which is he's on his way to a humble attitude. In the book of Ephesians, which he wrote later, I believe it's chapter 3, verse 8. Don't, but it's chapter 3 for sure. But he describes himself as, let me look it up here. I got it right here. See here, got it right here. Well, 1 Corinthians 15:9 describes himself as the least apostle. The least apostle. In Ephesians 3:8, he describes himself as the least of all saints. So I have that written down in my Bible. So anyway, you can look it up yourself. 1 Corinthians 1:1, he says he's the great apostle. 1 Corinthians 15:9, he says he is the least apostle. And in Ephesians 3:8, he says he is the least of all saints. I guess that includes new converts, right? So, Paul, throughout his whole ministry, probably his whole life, dealt with a prideful spirit. Probably because Apostle Paul was probably the smartest man in the room. That will lead to pride. So, but anyway, even though his major sins that was dealt with by Jesus Christ near Jerusalem during his conversion, he battled sin like the rest of us throughout his entire ministry. And so, you know, if you have some sin in your life, you keep working on it. That's normal. We'll be working on sin until we're raptured or until we die. Thank you.